Hello, hello. Welcome to Top Shelf Backpacking Trail Fails, Episode 6, Part 4. This is the final episode in my wife's first, and so far only, backpacking trip. Just a quick recap of things. Day 1 from Timberline Lodge. Lots of blisters, thanks to the downhill and the sand. Day 2, fairly uneventful, lots of ups and downs, but we kind of woke up wet and stayed a little wet there. And then we got rained on overnight. So day 3 was the worst trail conditions I have ever had. I stopped counting at 30 down trees. Down meaning we had to climb over, under, or bushwhack our way around, so not just step over. And we finally made our way to Wadham Lake, where we had an illegal campfire. Barely got warm enough to sleep well. And so day 4 begins at Wadham Lake. Because I'm, I don't know, I guess a purist, I wanted to take the actual PCT, not the alternate that goes down Eagle Creek and is probably much more beautiful. So we're hiking through Burn Zone, which technically Eagle Creek was too. But because we were coming down from Wadham Lake down to Cascade Locks, our only potential overnight option was 8 miles in, and we had 16 miles to make it to Cascade Locks. So I asked the wife, what do you want to do? You want to do this in 2 days or 1? So well, let's get out on trail, see how it is. Thankfully conditions had improved, skies were clearing, temps were warming. We just had the kind of annoying sun exposure, crazy views, nowhere easy to get off trail and use a restroom or anything due to the slopes. And we had some pretty decent water carries that day. So we got all packed up and we started out on trail. Making pretty good time. We were headed downhill most of the time. I think she'd become zen with her blisters. We tried to drain them pretty much every night, but only had so much kind of help with that. Remember around noon we got to the camp at the 8 mile mark. My feet were already hurting. I knew hers were. So what do you want to do? It was not a very good camp at that. Water was a ways out, accessible, but you'd have a walk to get there. And she said, no way, we're stopping. Hit up your mom. Let's schedule a pickup. Let's beat feet down to Cascade Locks. So we had a quick lunch. We started our way down, scheduled a pickup for mom after she got off work. And we're very happy to get low enough to begin to get tree cover. The last few miles were slightly forested, less affected by the burn area, and just had recovered a bit in the years since the Eagle Creek fire. I definitely regretted not taking the Eagle Creek alternate, but to me, ending our hike with basically like a mile or two kind of road walk where you parallel the freeway just didn't seem like a good idea. It's probably wrong in that estimation there. So eventually we get down to the Bridge of the Gods. There's a little park area there. That is our scheduled pickup. We definitely had some time to kill, so I had to wait for my mom to come get us. My wife noted in the bathrooms there are grab rails everywhere, and she was trying to figure out why basically Trailhead bathroom had such accessible toilets until she actually went to use it. First legitimate toilet in 4 days and 50 miles. And she was very grateful to have those handles to stand back up. I think it kind of caught her off guard how tricky it can be going from doing all that walking to sitting for any length of time and trying to get back up. That's when it kind of starts to hit you. So eventually my mom came and picked us up. We'd emptied out our trash, done what we could with the wet wipes. And I think my mom was kind of hungry, so she was very eager to take us somewhere to eat. We hadn't showered in 4 days, so we were not at all up for that. So look, there's a grocery store in town, we'll get you a sandwich. Please take us home. We just want to shower and lie down. And thankfully that is exactly what we did. She kept trying to talk us into going out to dinner, so maybe we didn't smell quite as bad as with that, but we were in no mood to go to a restaurant of any kind. So we made our way home, rested up as best we could. I remember the next day when I got up, my wife got up a while before me, and I went to walk out toward our living room in our apartment, and there were chairs. All our dining room chairs were like 4 feet apart, strewn about the apartment. And like, what in the world are you doing? And she said, well, I can't really walk on my own well. So she was holding on to them due to all of the blisters and just how sore her feet were. Thankfully, I work with wheelchairs for a living, fun fact. So I ran down to my work van and hauled a wheelchair up the stairs for her to use the rest of the day. I remember Pacific Crest Trail Days was in Cascade Locks that year. And it was just a couple days after we'd finished. And she was still having a tough time getting around. I mean, her blisters were incredibly gnarly. And after sleeping poorly, it just takes a toll on you. So, we've got new gear for her now. I've got a much more plush sleep system, sleeping pad set up. Hoping to get her out for some car camping this summer just to test it, see how she does. And then potentially get her back out on trail for a funner backpacking trip this time. Just one of the weekend trips. What I normally do, not these gnarly 50 milers where you have the worst time on trail you've ever had. So overall, we learned a lot of lessons. She confided in me that was definitely the hardest thing she had ever done. And I told her, despite going on dozens of trips with friends, none of them had ever forded rivers or dealt with the cold rain and all the down logs, so she was way more badass than any of the crew I ever hike with. So kudos for that. And she can always say she's done 50 miles, so that makes her better than, you know, most of her coworkers and stuff. So definitely a badass. Do I wish she would have given up day 2 when she rolled her ankle right by the RV and a road we could exit on? Yeah, kinda. Just because that third day was so miserable. And then doing 16 miles after 10 and 12, you know, that definitely takes a toll on your feet, even if you are headed downhill the whole time. But again, looking back on it, type 2 fun, at least for me. I'm not sure she would agree with all of that, but definitely a learning experience, and hopefully something we can use to eventually get her back out on trail, learn from our mistakes, and you know, maybe she won't be out with her on every trip, but here and there I think we could get her to learn to enjoy it. So thank you all for following along in this series about my wife's first and so far only trip. Check back next month to hear about the many other fails I've had on my own or with other friends. Got plenty of stories to tell there. If you want to hear more about the particular trails or the gear you see on this channel, visit topshelfbackpacking.com. And until I see you again, cheers.